Breaking news coming in at this hour, viewers. Iranian president has lauded Spain on his X account. Masoud Pezeshkian said, and I quote, Spain's responsible conduct in opposing the Zionist American coalition's flagrant human rights violations and military aggression against countries, including Iran, shows that ethics and awakened conscience still exist in the West. I commend Spanish officials for their stances, and this comes after Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez doubled down on his opposition to the attack on Iran by the US and Israel, warning that the conflict risked playing Russian roulette with lives of millions.
What we do know is that Iran war will not lead to a fairer international order, nor will it lead to higher wages, better public services, or a healthier environment. In fact, what we can foresee at the moment is more economic uncertainty, rises in oil prices and also in gas prices. That is why we in Spain are against this disaster.
Sánchez was responding after US President Donald Trump threatened to cut trade with Madrid over its position on the conflict. In the White House press briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Spain has agreed to cooperate with the US military. However, Spain has denied White House claim of military cooperation on Iran.
With respect to Spain, I think they heard the president's message yesterday loud and clear. And it's my understanding over the past several hours they've agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military. And so I know that the U.S. military is coordinating with their counterparts in Spain. But the president expects all of our European allies, of course, to cooperate in this long sought after mission, not just for the United States, but also for Europe, to crush the rogue Iranian regime that, again, not only threatens America, but also threatens our European allies as well.
For more on this, we are being joined by Colonel David B. Des-Roches. He's a professor at Thayer Marshall Institute and also the former Deputy Director for Peacekeeping in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. Welcome, sir. So Spain had earlier refused to support strikes without UN approval. So does this suggest allies are being pressured?
Yeah, I think when the United States wants to do something, we turn to all of our friends and say, we're going to do something, we'd like you to support us. And that's not just NATO allies, it includes also non-aligned nations, such as your own. So when I was on the joint staff, whenever we had a delegation visiting, we always prepared a card that had a list of how much this country is contributing to the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, UN peacekeeping missions, the anti-piracy mission in the Indian Ocean, things of that nature. Our senior military leadership would look at the requests we got from other countries based on that. So, but, you know, these are sovereign nations. They can make their own decisions based on what's important to them. And, you know, President Trump has clearly indicated that he's got a lot of displeasure on this, but he tends to squawk a lot. We'll see if any action ever comes of it. But right now, this is an issue, a problem on this issue. I presume Spain will make up for it on another issue.
David, as you speak to us from Doha, we have reports that Qatar says Iranian missiles, drones and aircraft violated its airspace, rejecting Iran's claim that Qatar was not the intended target. So Qatar has tried to stay out of this war, but has Iran made that position impossible to maintain?
The short answer is yes, and the long answer is absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I can't leave Qatar. I don't want to, but I can't leave Qatar because the airport is closed. I've heard missile intercepts over in my hotel, which is in the heart of the city. There are patrols of attack helicopters on drone patrol. Qatari national facilities, such as their natural gas terminal, and they have their own early warning radar. Those have been attacked by the Iranians, and this is a country which denied base access and overflights for Iran operations to the United States. Like Spain, they basically said, not only are we not taking part in this, but we don't want you to operate in our country for this. So all of that neutrality didn't prevent this Muslim country from being attacked by another Muslim country in the middle of Ramadan. They're very unhappy.
Yes, David, as you rightly said, Qatar was not saved from the strikes, and they now say that the attacks will not go unanswered. Does this raise the risk of the war spreading across the Gulf, which it already has?
Yeah, as you noted, it already has. I think that there will be some sort of retaliation, but I think that there's going to be a lot of effort going into hitting a target, an appropriate target that is proportionate, symbolic, but doesn't cause any civilian damage, and lets the Iranians know that Qatar is a sovereign nation, not a supplicant, not a subordinate nation, and that they take their sovereignty seriously.
Yes, if we look into another country in West Asia, Bahrain has arrested people for sharing content seen as sympathetic to Iran. This reflects growing tension inside the Gulf states. So what does this say about how secure Gulf governments feel right now?
Well, Bahrain is an exception. So most government states are overwhelmingly Sunni Muslim, and there are small members of other groups to include Shia Muslims. Bahrain is an exception. Bahrain has a very small Shia, or a very small Sunni section, and a very large Shia population, a majority Shia population. But the royal family are Sunni, and most of the security forces are Sunni. So there's always an issue there. And what complicates matters is that Bahrain is the smallest of the Gulf nations. It's actually one of the smallest nations in the world by landmass. And it is also not a rich nation. So even in diverse countries, there are the abilities for government to provide social programs to keep things down. But in Bahrain, they don't have the same number of resources. So that governance in Bahrain has always been an issue. And in times of tension, Iran has in the past claimed Bahrain as the 13th province. There are organic reasons for dissent and trouble, but Iran has in the past done things like funnel weapons there. So it's a problem which flares up from time to time, and it can be very serious. We'll have to see.
Yes, David, now if we go to the heart of Iran, Tehran, of course, the United Nations says that 100,000 have fled Tehran almost immediately after the strikes began, within the first 2 days itself. So from your perspective, how serious is the humanitarian impact at this stage right now?
I don't think it's that serious. I don't think that there's an urgent risk of, or a risk of widespread hunger or humanitarian disaster. Tehran is a huge city. It has the same population as New York, but it's also a dry city. It's in the middle of the desert. And if you want to Google Tehran water shortage, prior to the rise of the democracy protesters and their massacre by the Tehran regime, there was one of the major stories was the fact that the supreme leader said that the capital, Tehran, would have to relocate someplace else because the government was incapable of providing water there. So even when all systems function, there were problems with livability because of water and electricity outages, things of that nature. So when you add an active conflict in there, and a lot of the targets are things like Revolutionary Guard people that are scattered around the city, there's a very real possibility of serious disruption of the quality of life. So I think if I lived there, the prudent thing would be to get out of town. That's what I would do.